Hi, everyone. My name is Bailey Belisario, and I am a media assistant at West Center Baptist Church. I wanted to create this video because I wanted to show you a helpful tool that I believe can help the Planning Center community in using automation. And especially one thing that I ran into specifically is sermon management using the publishing application in Planning Center. So, if you haven't used Planning Center Publishing before, it it is definitely a sweet application, and it is awesome being able to host your like sermon media or whatever other media in this platform and then be able to publish that to podcast platforms pretty easily, instead of using things like Podbean. But for context, our church is transitioning to Planning Center. And one thing that I ran into is realizing that with publishing, there was not a simple way to programmatically create episodes. So what that means is that you would have to go through this user interface on the website, add an episode, create it, enter all of your details and whatnot. And the most important thing is, at least for us, is the on-demand settings where you can paste in embed code from like YouTube and then link an audio URL or upload the MP3. And there was no documentation on how to do this programmatically. And thankfully, through some communication with Planning Center, we did get the documentation for the programming API reference, to allow for uh, publishing sermon episodes or episodes programmatically. But there's still a few more things that I'll kind of note as we walk through that are still undocumented and not fully working. But I wanted to just show you that I was able to do this fully automated where we pull in our YouTube embed, we pull a public audio URL of our sermons, and then create the episode all with the correct data and available to our congregation through the church center application. And this is what it looks like on the phone, where I can go in, I can click and then watch or listen. So I'm going to show you how I managed to do that. And I think it can be really helpful. So, for context, I am using a tool called n8n, which is it's an automation platform where you can integrate all these different types of technologies to allow you to integrate with each of them pretty easily. You can see some of these like Mailchimp, Google Calendar, uh, Outlook, ChatGPT, or something, whatever you want to do. But uh, as a developer myself, I realized using code to do all this and writing the code all myself, like very, very tailored to our church, just became a lot of overhead for me to manage. And then when I discovered n8n, I was like, oh man, I can just rely on the community to update certain applications and create integrations myself with all the different applications and create an automation for what I need. So with that being said, I'm going to run through and I'm gonna wipe out all of our sermons on our church center site in publishing, just so that you can see it from fresh, what it looks like, and how this works. And then I'm gonna explain some things why it works for us. But let me go through and delete all of our episodes quick. So I built this workflow specifically to delete all the episodes for development reasons, because as I was testing things, I was running into like, oh, I accidentally entered a date wrong, or I didn't grab the speaker correctly, or whatever it might be. This is here for development reasons, not meant to be used in production. But if you want to use it, you can go for it, as I'm doing so myself. just for testing purposes. So you can see it just ran through all of the episodes, deleted them, and notified me on Notify and Discord. Then running through, I'm going to delete all of the sermon series, and that'll delete all the series. And I'll explain how these kind of work in a minute, but I'm going to run through now and use my workflow that I made for uploading all of the sermons to Planning Center. And just to verify quick, if I go back to the app, you can see all of the sermons are gone. I can go to the publishing, it's not people management, publishing. I can see all of the series and episodes are gone. I did not delete the channel because the channel is static. Like, this is the thing we use. It's not going to change much for Sunday worship. But going through, this is the workflow I built, and it's pretty large. But I'll explain it as it goes through. And just to be aware, I will cut in the video if it fails, because I did run into some rate limiting issues earlier, even though I tried to handle rate limiting. But this will take about 4 minutes to run in total for the 123 sermons that we have on YouTube. So I'll just kind of explain it as it goes through, and if I get done, I'll skip forward. But going through, so how it starts is it gets our sermon from a playlist. So on YouTube, we have our flow, our workflow is we use OBS, and we don't use any type of special presentation software. We just stream to YouTube. And YouTube is our hosting platform for live streams and sermons. So how we have this set up is each live stream and sermon, when I edit the live stream, goes into its own playlist. And so we have our sermons playlist and our live stream playlist. And I use the YouTube editor for videos every Monday to edit the sermon out. And you can see that's where the videos tab comes in. And that is how we just do it. There may be a better way, but this is like the only manual step I have to do in the whole process of stripping out audio, backing up our video, backing up the audio, and then uploading to Planning Center. The only manual step I have to do each week is take like 5 minutes out of my day on a Monday to edit the video and make sure all the correct details are entered. So what that looks like in practice, like I would go to a live stream and edit the video and do my thing. But I do want to clarify, if you're using YouTube as your hosting platform and you're just going to copy and paste the workflows that I have, it may not work out of the box, because we specifically have our YouTube description data set up in a very specific way so that the program or the automations work. So we structure it as title, scripture, series, speaker, and date. And this is not only used for Planning Center, but also our website, because we use WordPress, and there's a plugin called Advanced Sermons that it takes in all of this data and then publishes it so that it's searchable on our website. But since we are moving to Planning Center, I thought I might as well integrate it into Planning Center's episode creation. So let me go back and look at this. Looks like it's still running. But it will get all of our sermons after I've edited it, and this runs on a scheduled basis. You can change the schedule basis how often it runs, but pretty much, like, I think on Wednesdays it will run, so that every Wednesday the sermon will be made available on demand and published to podcast platforms. So once it grabs the sermons, it reverses them, because from YouTube, it will grab the newest to oldest, but we need to flip it from oldest to newest in Planning Center's case, because it pushes it as like a stack-based episode creation where the first in is going to be the last out. and I need to push the newest on top. So it will flip that list and then it will run through all the items. And you can see what happens here is I parse this parse object is the very important part of what I did per creation or sorry, for parsing that YouTube data. So you can see like the file name, I create the file name specifically uh, because this is what is uploaded in another workflow to the public platform for MP3 files. The descriptions here, but the sermon title, scripture, series, speaker, and date are all parsed here, and that just runs this code to do that. Um, but you can see it will first check if our audio file exists, and what we are using to publicly host our audio is AWS S3. So this S3 bucket is just public. It only has our audio MP3 files. So just be aware that public S3 buckets are dangerous to use if you're using them for sensitive data, but for audio, it's fine. And we do use Microsoft and SharePoint for backing up audio and video, but unfortunately, they do not support having public links. You can create shareable links that are public to everyone, but even in sharing that, it doesn't grab the audio directly. Uh, like I can with AWS S3, I can just go to the link and then it is there. So if and this if statement, I need to change the title of how it works, but if the file does exist in S3, it will move forward with the process to start the sermon episode creation in Planning Center. And it will first get the series from that YouTube object. And if the series is not found, it will run through and create a dummy n8n series and then update the series title with the YouTube object. I could have concatenated this into just one, but I specifically did this for debugging reasons where it would create the n8n series and I knew it was coming from n8n because in my original testing, this call was like failing. So I just made it this way. But moving on, uh, getting the speaker person ID. So I grab the name and I search for in people. I search for all the people in the database and I look specifically for the name of that person. If they are not found, it creates the person in the Planning Center database. And that is important because of how Planning Center works with adding a speaker to an episode. It's not just a name, it has to be a person from the database. And this was a tricky functionality that is undocumented in their API reference, where I had to figure out how to do the correct call for updating that speaker. And I'll show that to you in a minute. But it then, after it has all these details parsed, it then tries to find the episode. And this is the key point where you can see when I ran this workflow originally, it did post all 123 sermons to Planning Center. But if I execute this again, you'll see that this true will start to hit where it will not create the episode if it is found. So if the episode is not found, it will move on with creating the episode. It's just it prepares all the details prior, and I could edit this to where it could try to find the episode first and then move forward with the creation. So I'm not doing as many API calls, but it works. Um, so anyway, it will then create the episode, but you have to create the episode first before you actually update the speaker or add a speaker because there's no functionality built into uh creating an episode to add a speaker immediately on episode creation. So you have to issue a patch call, which is undocumented, to update the speaker for that specific episode. And I'll show that to you here just so that you're aware. You have to grab the episode ID and then you have to send a specific JSON request with attributes being nothing, but actually patching the uh, speakership relationship so that it is tied to the data of the person's ID. And this was all reverse engineered just through Burp Suite and using intercepting the HTTP request. But that is here an undocumented functionality. But you can see that upon executing all this again, it is hitting this true flag each time. So that the episodes are not being created over and over again. So on the scheduled basis each week, as all of everything I have is automated, I can ensure that it will only create the episodes that are new. And you can definitely run through this and make this like the first time, yeah, probably you're going to want to run through all of your items, but you could just grab from here like the most recent 5 items or something and then go from there. But I just did it this way and it works. You may, depending how many sermon episodes you have, you may be rate limited. I have run into issues with that at times, and this is why it takes about 4 minutes to run for this. But if it gets rate limited, you can also build in, extra functionality just to say like, okay, wait this many minutes and then try to run again, and it'll continue the process. So going back to Planning Center or Church Center, you can see all of our sermons are back. They are all in here and included. So 123 and the series are also here. Now, the one thing I do want to note, the unfortunate thing with programmatically doing this and why I had to publicly host audio elsewhere is because when I create an episode, the media resources tab, I have the YouTube link, but I have the S3 bucket link as well. Because you can't programmatically upload artwork or sermon audio or just audio in general to Planning Center, unfortunately. There is a file upload API endpoint, but it doesn't use that for publishing. It uses a different API endpoint where it uploads to AWS itself actually on Planning Center side, but we don't have functionality to that, unfortunately. And that was all reverse engineered and communicated, and unfortunately they don't support it right now. So in the future, I will try to support this once it is updated with API where you can just upload the MP3 directly, but right now can't do that. So just wanted to make that note. But yeah, this is how I interacted with this and automated the whole process of uploading sermons to Planning Center. And you see all the info is back there, and this will run on a weekly basis where I can just sit back and the only manual thing I have to do is edit our sermon on YouTube. So hope you enjoyed this demo. I hope it helps, and I will make another video detailing more of the development stuff. So if you are a developer, more technical, how to actually work with this stuff, so that you have that video too. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Hope this is helpful to your church, and may God's glory be shined through things like this. See you later.